Hi, I am working on a new schedule that I can keep to, and I haven't posted in a while because I fell off the wagon of posting. And I would like to be more consistent. Consistency is kind of my jam, is what I'm kind of working towards and kind of focused on. And so, that being said, I want to share an interesting story, something that happened to me as a real world example of how we can process a disappointment, process what feels like a setback, and move forward with ease. So, it's okay to feel your feelings, what you're feeling. It's just once you've processed it, if you are going over that exact same thing and you get lost in the feelings, you don't become the observer of them, but you get lost in the feeling again, then Neville calls it reinfecting yourself. Like going over the same situation over and over again is reinfecting ourselves, which we are likely to do as humans. We are looking, our brains want worst case scenarios because they think that that's how they're going to get things done. They're going to do some get some solutions out of these worst case scenarios, and the brain is doing so many things. It's trying to keep us safe in those moments. So it's like, well, worst case scenario, so I'm prepared. But it's like, then you're kind of like moving towards that in a way sometimes, right? So it's like a dicey thing when we accept exactly what our brain is telling us, because sometimes our brain is just telling us these old patterns. Sometimes our brain is just recreating something that we've heard or seen or felt before again and again, because the brain left unchecked, it wants to keep you safe. So it's going to be looking for worst case scenarios. It's going to be like, oh, well, don't go there because this might happen, and don't do that because that could not work out. Don't risk this because it could not work out. So the brain is very important in the status quo, very invested in the status quo. Keep everything the same, equilibrium, just don't change and everything will be fine, right? Because the brain is like, well, you're safe right now, so we can't change things because then that could mean this or it could mean that. So instead of that, the brain is like, no, status quo, you're safe, you're fine, you got a roof over your head, you're fine. So when we want to address that because we're looking for change and we want to create the groove of feeling towards something, right? We want to feel towards the outcome we're looking for. Neville says, when the two feelings are present, the stronger one will win. So you may have a strong desire, but if you have a doubt that's bigger, that's what is kind of gonna go ahead and happen, right? It's all about, if we're gonna have strong desire, then we must gentle resistance. We must gentle doubt. We must cast aside doubts, thoughts of doubt and thoughts of resistance as if a sin. We must not pay attention to them, right? Where our attention goes, energy flows. Where our attention is placed is what we're going to get more of, right? What we're going to get more of. When we have a good feeling thought, we're going to attract another good feeling thought right behind it, and another good feeling thought right behind it. And the inverse is also true. So anyway, back to the story. So we were doing this going away party for a former colleague. So lovely. Great to see people, great to catch up with people. And I was talking to, I would say, someone who was a colleague who was becoming a friend. I'd done some work with her. She has a painting business. She's a very cool woman. And I had misunderstood something she had said. So I was just like, oh, all those clients will come. And she's like, well, I can't create more, something about I can't create more days. So, and she was saying she had plenty of clients. So I misunderstood. She was looking for more help. Now, I've worked with her in the past, but maybe my work wasn't up to snuff. Like, it's not my first thing. So maybe I'm not, XYZ in it enough. But I just thought, well, I'm not working right now full time, so it just makes sense to throw an offer out there. And so I was clear about it, and I just had said, because we had parted ways at that point, but I just said, good luck finding other painters to help you with your clients. And, if my work was up to snuff, like, I'm definitely available. And if not, I understand, because because I'm not made for every work situation, and every work situation is not made for me. So, but at least I threw the offer out, right? And then I mentioned the other gentleman who I trained actually in that business, in the retail side of it, and that he was looking for work. So he had asked me about that. So I had put his name forward to her as well, because he was interested. So that's great, right? Connections and sharing someone else who could be a helpful fit feels good. But the response back, and I just said, and no hard feelings, I'm happy to know you as a person, because I am. And so the response did come back, and there was no, oh yeah, I have this small job for you, or sure, like maybe next week, blah, blah, blah. So it was just like, so it was that disappointing feeling, right? I felt a little rejected, like, oh yeah, maybe I'm not good enough in that skill set, and that's really good money, and that's a shame, or whatever. So I processed the emotion, right? I processed that disappointment. Okay, I'm disappointed. And now what? What do I want? I know what I don't want. I don't want to be disappointed. What do I want? Well, I want to be satisfied, right? I want good feeling work opportunities. I want funds to come in to help me work on learning editing, like buying an editing suite, right? I need a new computer so that I can do a better job at these videos, because this is something I'm super interested in. So it was starting to like take shape. Well, what do I want? Like, how can I turn my attention towards what I want after processing this like too bad moment? And so it's like, okay, well, we know better things are coming. We know that to be true. Like, that is a given. Bigger and better is coming, and it's always arriving to us, right? Ask and it is given. So I asked for the improvement, right? I asked for the job in that moment. I asked for a better thing in that moment. And the day after, because this was 2 days ago, this was this past Sunday, so this is 2 days ago. So the day after, I get a text message, just out of the blue. And so out of the blue, sometimes Abraham calls it out of the oblivion. When you get something that you don't want, that we're kind of not interested in, right? They call it out of the oblivion, because that's when we're not paying attention to our thoughts. But I was paying attention to my thoughts. And what Pam Grout says about that is out of the blue is like a gift from source. So anyway, I opened this text message from a former employer, or I guess a former department head, because he doesn't sign my checks, but he does offer me work. So he called or texted to ask me if I was available for a 10-week contract starting April 10th. Wow. And in my field. So I still work in film and television on the crew side. I have my aspirations to be more creative and to be in a more performing context. As that was kind of one of my first things, and I'm a bit of a musician as well, so my songwriting partner and I are starting to ramp up how much we practice and work on songs together, which is great. So I got, I like to have things going on. I like to have more than one thing going on. It's more fun for me. Like, that's just the way I work. Some people really like to focus in on one thing, but I like a few things going on. So anyway, this contract obviously will pay me more money than, can you paint this room for me, right? Like, this would be significantly higher of pay. And it is significantly longer. So there are things that I have to do to get ready for it, right? I have to keep my body in good alignment, because it's really long hours on film sets, and you can get tempted very easily to eat food that's low nutritional value, that doesn't feel good. It feels good right in that moment, and then right after that you feel like crap. So I have to be I get to be more mindful of that this time, because I want to feel good. So I get to start thinking now about, okay, we're going to have fun at work, because that's something else I decided a few years ago too. I'm not going to work unless I have fun. So I'm going to have fun, even though those hours are long, right? I'm going to laugh. I'm going to do my job to the best of my ability. I'm going to try to learn new things and not be guarded towards new ways of doing things. I'm going to try to be open, right? I want to be open and welcoming of new ideas because sometimes I know, I don't know if this happened to you, but it's happened to me where I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good at what I do. So I get that thing of, well, I'm all this experience, so I don't need your new idea. Like I got this. But no. Stay open. When you're open, it's better. When you're open, it's better. So I get to practice being open now. I get to take this month to really ramp up and get some practices in with my songwriting partner, get some, more ideas gelling and stuff like that, and really, really get to work and really enjoy it while I'll have this time because I am not working until this contract starts. I get to sit down and work on a budget that makes sense, that will help me pay off some debts because I can't have this crushing the credit card debt anymore. She gotta go. I don't have time for it. So I get to make decisions. I get to do things. Now, would a $1,000 painting job have helped my bottom line? Yes. And it's a good skill and it's good to practice because it's something that I might want to do like a little side hustle on just to get ahead of that, those bills, which I call blessings. I call all my bills blessings because it just feels nicer. And they are blessings. My home is a blessing. My rent is a blessing. It's a blessing. This is a sanctuary that I get to live in, that I pay for, and it, pays me back with being private and being respectful, and it's secure, and it's my home, right? So it's, you know what I mean? I like to call them blessings. My phone bill, it's not a phone bill, it's a phone blessing because this is how I stay connected to the world. This is how I put out videos. This is how I connect with friends and family. This is how I access all the things I need on the interwebs with all of the information that I need there. All of that. So would that $1,000 painting job one day really have been helpful? Yes. Will this $10,000 job be really helpful? Yes. And more is coming, right? More is coming and more is available. So it's an opportunity for me to take this influx of cash and be super mindful. And instead of doing a lot of fun things, I love to go out for a good dinner, I'm just going to go and do that in my imagination, because when the contract is over, I'm going to plan and enjoy having money left over until the next thing comes. I'm going to enjoy having lower balances on my cards. I'm just going to enjoy that. So I'm going to create it. And this doesn't limit me from accepting other kinds of money, but we take the path of least resistance. So I know that I can't say, oh, I have $1 million in my account tomorrow, right? There's resistance there because I don't believe it, but I can work within what I believe and then create more. Abraham talked about a story that Jerry would say is, when you're setting your goals, put the wastebasket, it's like you're chucking paper into a wastebasket. You put it just out of reach so that it's still of what you can normally do. So it's obtainable. You're it's just a little further than it was before. That's obtainable. I can do that. I can imagine that, and I can believe that. Can I believe that I have $1 million in 5 months? I cannot. I'm not there yet. Some people are, and that's great. And I don't even know that I want $1 million. That seems like a lot of pressure. And of course, that's limiting too. And that's something I have to work on. So it's okay to have things to work on. We are limitless and we are eternal, right? We're eternal. So you can't get it wrong. You can't get it done, like Abraham says. It's so important to remember. So anyway, just to show you, you can process disappointment and you can bring a good new thing in. We don't have to stay in our negative emotions for a long term to reap their benefits. Beauty for these ashes. I want beauty for these ashes, it says in the Bible, right? And that means finding a way to a joyful attitude anyway. That means being unconditional in your love. Being unconditional in your love of life and being on the planet is key. Finding things that are easy to feel good about all the time to help you lessen impact of something like that had happened are key. And when you find one for you that works, like I love thinking about my heart, and it is abundance. No matter what is happening in the outside world, this is abundance. This is abundance. This is well-being, because it beats for me every day of my life and without my help. It's incredible. Our hearts are incredible. They're incredible. Like, thank them. Thank them. And then, so now I get to say thank you. I get to say thank you. This thing, admittedly, comes with some resistance. It's not necessarily a job that I really desire to do, right? I want to make changes. There are other things that I want more. But I can make peace with it and be thankful anyway. I can make it more about what the gains will come, and that I know that I am good at that job, and that I can help mentor others while I am there. Last year, one time, there was an actor who was just feeling a little overwhelmed, and so I was just able to breathe with her and just gentle how she was feeling, because when we get tired, we are more susceptible to these, negative thought tracks, right? Because we're not diligent about it because we're tired, right? So it's really important to maintain, these, when you find something that feels good, to maintain it. And so one thing I would do is, if I was feeling overwhelmed early on in this position, when I first started, and there's so much to learn. So of course you're like, long hours, a lot to learn, not sleeping as much, want to do a good job, worried that I'm not doing a good job, all of that, which is totally normal. But one thing I did that really served me was just, okay, stop in this moment. And just think about 5 things I love. Like, literally think about 5 things I love. And just, and love easily. So things that don't have resistance in them, baked into them, but like things that I do love easily. And it was really helpful. And it really gave me relief. It really loosened me up and gave me relief. So all that's to say is that we can process our emotions, because the stronger of the two feelings will win. So we must process them. This is not about pretending we don't feel something. And then on the other side, because as the observer of your feelings in your body, processing them is really a quick process, right? It doesn't take that long, because when you get down to the other side of it, what do I want? Thank you for my emotional guidance system, as Abraham would call it. And what do I want now? Now that I've had this experience, what do I want now? So it's always about that. What do I want in this moment? What do I want now? Do I want to feel peaceful? Can I imagine feeling peaceful? I can. We have lots of instances where we can imagine feeling happy, feeling peaceful, feeling love, and we can store them up and put them in our back pockets. So this has gone on longer than I was gonna do. So, oops. Thank you for watching and listening, and I appreciate you. And blessings over your day, your week, your month, your year, your hour, your second, your minute, your millisecond. And thank you for being a part of this experience with me, and thank you for being on the planet with me. And we will talk again. Bye. Ciao.